Hi everybody, Mrs. Lopez here. Time to read the next 3 chapters from otherwise known as Sheila the Great by Judy Blume. Alright, chapter 10. It turned out that Alan and Paul, the boys who won my contest, liked being in charge of the camp newspaper. They formed all kinds of committees and hardly missed any of their regular activities. And Mrs. Bindle volunteered to run off copies for them. Some people really take the easy way out. They even changed the name of my paper from Newsdate by Sheila the Great to Alan and Paul Tell All. Mouse is one of the camp reporters. She acts like that's a big deal. You must really not like newspaper work if you gave up after just 1 week, Mouse said. It's not that I don't like it, I told her. It's just that the challenge is gone. Well, Mouse said, I think it's a challenge every week, and I've decided that I'm going to be a real reporter someday. And I'm going to have a byline, too. So when you see by Mouse Ellis in your newspaper, you can tell your friends you knew me when I started out. Swell, I said. You do that. I probably will be something more exciting myself. Like what? Mouse asked. Oh, something. You can't tell me because you don't know, right? I'm still deciding. I might be a weather forecaster. Yes, I think it'd be pretty exciting to always know the weather in advance. Hey, Mouse said, I just got a swell idea. Maybe I can be a reporter on TV and you can be the weather forecaster, and we'll call our show Ellis and Tubman Report. I like Tubman and Ellis Report better, I said. Maybe it should be Mouse and Sheila Report. Or Sheila and Mouse Report, I said. Well, we don't have to decide about that now. Right. It's the show that's the good idea, I said. What we call it isn't that important. But we'll definitely be a team, Mouse said. Of course we will, I told her. Let's shake on it. Okay, I said. We shook hands hard. One reason I want to be a weather forecaster is that I always know in advance if there's going to be a thunderstorm, and I will have time to prepare myself. Last night, there was an awful storm. My mother and father don't know this, but I sat in my closet until it was over. This afternoon, when I got home from camp, I turned on the radio. I sat next to it until I heard the weather report. Tonight is supposed to be clear and cool. That's good. That means there's nothing for me to worry about. I fell asleep with no trouble. But in the middle of the night, I woke up. There was a terrible racket outside. It wasn't thunder, but it sounded pretty scary anyway. As I put my first pillow over my head, hoping the noise would go away, but it didn't. When I couldn't stand it anymore, I jumped out of bed and ran to my window. And what did I see? 2 Jennifers, as if one isn't bad enough, and both of them baying at the moon at the same time. The next morning at breakfast, I told the whole family about Jennifer's friend. Everyone seemed to think it was funny. Everyone except me. 2 days later, Libby reported that Jennifer's friend is definitely a boy dog. How do you know? I asked. I saw them make, Libby said. He used the big tree in the backyard near the fence. I'm not surprised, Daddy said. Jennifer's friend comes to visit every night now. It's getting harder and harder to sleep in this house. In the morning, Jennifer's friend is gone. We don't know who he belongs to. I don't like leaving the house these days. I know it isn't safe. I told my mother, Jennifer's friend just runs around loose. You can't expect me to go outside with that dog around here. He only comes at night, Mom said. That's what you think, I told her, but you can't be sure, can you? No, Mom said, I can't be sure, but there's nothing for you to worry about. Jennifer's friend is perfectly harmless. Oh, he is he? Did he tell you that? Did he ring the bell and say, Hello, Mrs. Tubman, I'm perfectly harmless? My mother sighed. I see there's no point in discussing it with you. Your mind is already made up. A few days later, Mouse was over. We were yo-yoing in the driveway. Mouse has a new Duncan butterfly. A butterfly is a regular yo-yo put together backwards so that the flat ends are on the outside. Nobody told me this. I figured it out myself. Mouse was trying to teach me a new yo-yo trick called Round the World, but I kept missing and hitting myself in the head. All of a sudden, I had a feeling I was being watched. I turned slowly, and there he was. Jennifer's friend. I screamed and threw my yo-yo at him. He came after me. I ran as fast as I could, right into the yard where Jennifer was tied up. Her friend was barking like crazy, and I could tell he was already thinking about how I would taste. So I kept running and screaming until I tripped over Jennifer's chain. I fell down and was sure that was the end of me. So I closed my eyes and cried. When I felt my legs were wet all over, I knew the blood was pouring out of them. In a minute, my mother was bending over me, and I heard Mouse say, "She just went crazy, Mrs. Tubman. I couldn't even stop her." "My legs! My legs!" I cried. "Do something! Stop the blood!" "What blood?" Mom asked. "There's no blood." "But they're all wet," I sobbed. "I can feel how wet they are." "Open your eyes, Sheila," Mom said, "and you'll see why." I opened one eye and then the other. I rolled over and Mom helped me sit up. Jennifer, the dumb old dog, was licking my legs. "I'm going to get awful hives," I told Mouse. "Just awful. They'll probably be as big as apples." Mouse didn't say anything. She just looked at me and shook her head. Later, Mom took me to the doctor because when I tripped over Jennifer's chain, I scraped up my leg. I said, "I told you, didn't I? I told you it wasn't safe to keep that dog around here. Just see what she's done to me. Just see." "Jennifer and her friend did not do anything to you, Sheila," Mom said. "And if you had just kept calm, nothing would have happened at all." "I was calm," I said. Jennifer's friend is the one who got all excited. And did you see the size of his teeth?" Mouse came over after supper. "I wanted to make sure you were okay," she said. "I'm fine," I told her. "Did you get hives?" "Hives?" "Yes, from Jennifer licking you." "Oh, yes, I got awful hives," I said. "All over my liver and intestines." "Your liver and intestines?" "Yes, and the doctor said I was really lucky this time. I didn't get any on my lungs. They're the worst kind." Mouse tilted her head and didn't say anything for a minute. So neither did I. Finally, she looked at me right in the eye. "Sheila, if a person is scared of something, a person should just admit it. Don't you think so?" "Oh, definitely," I said. "And if I was ever afraid of anything, I'd be the first to admit it." "Me too," Mouse said. "Did I ever tell you I'm scared of dragonflies?" "You are?" "Yes, even though I know they can't hurt me, I'm very scared of them." "How about you? What makes you afraid?" "Oh, let me think." "Take your time," Mouse said. "You know," I told her, "I really can't think of anything I'm scared of except maybe lions." "Lions?" "Yeah, you know, lions." "And that's it?" Mouse asked. "Yes, I can't think of another thing." Mouse tilted her head to the other side. What was she trying to get, a different view of me? "It's getting dark," I told her. "Remember, your mother doesn't like you walking around in the dark." "I'm going," Mouse said. "See you tomorrow, Sheila. Hope you don't run into any lions." "Ha ha," I called. Soon after, Jennifer's friend stopped coming to visit, and Jennifer made unhappy noises at night. She refused to eat. Daddy got worried and took her to the vet. And that's how we found out Jennifer is going to be a mother. Daddy wrote to the Egrins, telling them about Jennifer. They wrote back. "Dear Buzz, Jean, and girls, we are enjoying England, although the boys miss home and Jennifer. We are all thrilled to hear the good news. Imagine our little Jennifer a mother. Thank goodness we'll be home for the big event. Of course, you get the pick of the litter. I know having a puppy will make the girls very happy, especially since they are taking care of Jennifer this summer. We are glad to hear that you are comfortable in our house and that the girls like Tarrytown. See you in September, Sally, George, and the boys. P.S. Bobby wants to add something. My mother says a girl named Sheila is in my room. Did she find my note? Tell her this. Just remember, I meant what I said. I'm bringing home 21 new models to add to my collection. Everything better be just the way I left it. B.E." The whole letter made me mad, especially the part about the pick of the litter. Who said we'd want one of Jennifer's puppies anyway? Don't the Egrins know that dogs are very unhappy in the city? They have to be indoors all the time. There aren't any backyards where they can be tied up. For a professor, George Egrin isn't very smart, or he would know better than to offer us one of his dumb old dogs. Libby didn't agree. "I just can't wait," she said. I'm going to pick him out myself, and I'm going to be in charge of him, and he's going to sleep on my bed, and I'm going to be the happiest girl who ever lived. You better quit thinking about having a puppy, I told her, because you can't. Since when are important decisions left up to you? Libby asked. You think you're going to bring in some puppy into our room to sleep on your bed? You're really crazy. You know I'm allergic to dogs. You know I get giant hives inside me. This little spoiled brat isn't going to get her own way this time, Libby screamed. This time, the spoiled brat is going to have to learn that I count too. I am also a member of this family. Girls, girls, Daddy said. Tell her, Father. Tell her we're going to have one of Jennifer's puppies. Oh, Daddy, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do that to me, I cried. Jennifer isn't even having her puppies until September. There's no point in discussing it now, Daddy said. If I don't get one, I'm leaving home, Libby said. And if she does get one, I'm leaving home, I told everyone. In about 1 minute, I think I'm going to leave home, Mom said. That's a good idea, Daddy said. Let's you and me run off and leave them together. Very funny, Libby said. Yeah, very funny, I added. This discussion is closed for now, Daddy told us. Your mother and I will make the decision when the time comes. Libby ran out of the room and up the stairs. I heard her door slam. I picked up the Egren's letter and went up to my room. But I didn't slam the door. I flopped onto my bed and read the P.S. from Bobby again. I decided to write back. Dear B.E., sure, I found your note, and your 27 bottles of paint, and your 6 tubes of Tester's glue. And if you think I'm using all that junk, you are sick. Me and Mouse, who is my best friend, couldn't care less about your dumb old models, so ha ha. And your dog Jennifer makes too much noise at night. Yours untruly, Sheila Tubman, otherwise known as Sheila the Great. All right, we are on chapter 11. Libby spends most of her free time with Jennifer. She is studying books on how to deliver babies. Even though the vet says Jennifer's puppies won't be born until September, when the Egrens are back, Libby says it can't hurt to be prepared. Jennifer should sleep inside at night, Libby announced at supper. Oh no, I said. She can sleep on my bed, Libby said. Oh please, Father, she needs to be where it's warm. Don't you understand? I'll ask the vet, Daddy said, but I think it's all right for her to stay in her doghouse as long as the weather's warm. If it isn't all right for her to stay out there, then I'm leaving, I said. A deal's a deal. Selfish, selfish, selfish person, Libby said, giving me a kick under the table. Lucky for me, the vet told Daddy it is fine for Jennifer to stay in her doghouse for the rest of the summer. When she isn't learning to be a dog doctor, Libby is practicing how to sing. She wants to play the part of Wendy in the camp production of Peter Pan. Libby's singing makes her dancing look great. I never knew my sister was such an awful voice. I have to hold my ears when she starts in with her songs. I know she will never get the part of Wendy. Mouse and I are not trying out for parts in the play. We signed up to paint scenery instead. So did Sam Sweeney. He has already painted 4 elephants. Since when are there elephants in Never Neverland? Russ wants to play Captain Hook, but if you ask me, he looks more like Peter Pan. On Tuesday, Libby didn't eat any breakfast. She said she was just too nervous about trying out for the play. I just have to be Wendy or I'll die, she told us. On Tuesday night, she didn't eat any supper. That's because she didn't get the part of Wendy. I knew she wouldn't. I didn't think she should be acting so disappointed. She got a very important part in the play. She is going to be Captain Hook. I told her, you're lucky, Libby. Russ would give anything to be Captain Hook. Well, let him, Libby cried. I don't want to play the part of some disgusting old man. He can't, I said. He's going to be Peter Pan. This news made Libby cry even harder. Daddy told Libby to get into the spirit of the play and accept her part. After all, she could be painting scenery like me and Mouse. The next day, Libby spent hours and hours in the bathroom looking at herself. I know, because every time I had to use it, she was in there. So finally, I got tired of knocking and I just walked right in on her. She didn't even yell at me. She just said, I am so ugly, it's unbelievable. Oh, you're not that bad, I said. How would you know, Libby asked. You look just like me. I do? Of course, she said. Just look in the mirror. I looked. I don't know, Libby, I said. I don't think I look like you. Well, you do, Libby screamed. And just wait until you're 13. You'll be as ugly as me, if not uglier. Oh, I could just cry. You've been crying for 3 days already, I reminded her. Oh, shut up. I went down to the kitchen and told my mother what Libby said. Libby is just feeling bad about not getting the part of Wendy in the play. She'll get over it, Mom said. She thinks she didn't get it because she's ugly. She's making excuses. She's feeling ugly. Looks are all a matter of how you feel, you know. If you feel beautiful, you are beautiful. It all comes from inside. No kidding? I said. I never knew that. Mom smiled. Why don't you tell that to Libby? I asked. I tried, Mom said, but she wouldn't listen. Here, have a carrot. Thanks, I said, taking it. I think I could live on a raw carrots. They are the best tasting food in the whole world. That afternoon, I went to the pool with Mouse and Betsy. Mom said that she would stay home with Libby and try to cheer her up. Do you think I'm ugly? I asked Mouse. Betsy answered, Yes, but I love you just the same, and so does Ooch. Oh, Betsy, Mouse said, Sheila's not ugly and you know it. Okay, Betsy said, you're not ugly. Libby says I am, I told Mouse. She says I look just like her and that she is one of the ugliest people on earth. She's stupid, Mouse said. I know that, but do you think she knows what she's talking about when she says I'll look just like her someday? Definitely not, Mouse told me. I was happy to hear that. The next day, Libby decided to learn every part in the play. She says this is just in case someone gets sick at the last minute and she has to play another part, like maybe Wendy. I asked her if she plays Wendy, then who will be Captain Hook? And she says I am very dumb to even ask such a question. I don't understand Libby at all. Me and Mouse have finished painting 6 huge trees and are now starting on the archway. When Wendy and the other kids walk through it, it means they're in Neverland. They aren't going to fly across the stage like they're supposed to. They're just going to pretend by flapping their arms. The problem is the archway won't stand up by itself. Every time we put it on the stage, it falls to one side. So Mike, the counselor in charge of scenery, says that me and Mouse are going to have to stand behind it and hold it up while the play is going on. Mouse doesn't want to. She says she's too embarrassed. But I think it'll be great fun to be on the stage holding up such an important piece of scenery. All of our parents are invited to the play, plus anyone else who wants to come. Daddy is tacking a note about the production on the bulletin board at college. He is sure some of his students will want to see the play. The girl who is playing the part of Wendy is Marianne Markman. I think her name is very good for an actress. It sounds better than Libby Tubman. I wonder why Mother and Father didn't think of that when they named my sister. Sheila Tubman doesn't sound much better, but at least I don't want to be a famous actress or ballerina. And anyway, I could always call myself Sunny Tub or something like that. The one thing I've noticed about Marianne Markman is that when she's rehearsing, she sings very nice and loud and is pretty good at her part. But as soon as anybody who isn't in the play sits down to watch, she sings so soft you can hardly hear her. I wonder what will happen the night of the play. Libby is still hoping Marianne will get sick and that she will have to play the part of Wendy. Since I'm always on the stage holding up the scenery, I'm learning all the parts too. That way, if Libby winds up playing Wendy, maybe I can be Captain Hook. Finally, the night of the play came. Daddy gave Libby a rose in honor of the occasion. Oh, Father, Libby cried, you are too thoughtful. I'm glad this play will be over tonight. I'm sick of my sister, the actress. Me and Mouse had to dress in blue and yellow so we would blend in with the rest of the scenery in case either one of us shows through. Marianne Markman got there in plenty of time and she wasn't sneezing or coughing or acting sick. Libby looked stupid in her Captain Hook suit, but Russ was a perfect Peter Pan. It's too bad he can't really fly. Everybody did fine during the first act except Mouse coughed once when Russ was singing. He stopped right in the middle of a song and waited for her to finish. Marianne's voice was very low and very sweet. When she ran through the archway, she almost knocked me over, but I hung on and the archway stayed up. Libby came on in the middle of the second act. She sang her song very loud, and when she was done, the audience clapped for her. I guess sometimes it is better to sing loud and be heard than to sing very nicely like Marianne, who nobody could hear but me and Mouse. Hearing Libby sing so loud seemed to make Marianne forget her lines, because she just stood there and didn't say anything. Finally, I whispered her next line to help her remember. When she still didn't say anything, I said her lines for her. I don't know if the audience noticed this or not, because Marianne did move her lips. I said her lines for her all during that act. Libby looked over at me once and made a terrible face, but Marianne needed me. What else could I do? Mouse was laughing all this time, and neither one of us remembered about holding up the archway. So the next time Russ ran through it, it fell to the side. But I don't think we ruined the play like Libby says, because we managed to get it up again in just a few seconds. All in all, I think it was a very successful show, even though Libby says she is never speaking to me again. Chapter 12. I am down to 3 swimming lessons a week. Marty says I'm ready to learn to put my face in the water because there is nothing else he can teach me until I do. I told him I can't put my face in the water, and there's a very good reason why I can't, which you don't even know about. I'm listening, Marty said. What's your reason? Something very important that you probably never even considered. Well, you really want to know my reason? I'm waiting, Marty said. Okay, I'll tell you. The reason I cannot possibly put my face in the water of this pool is that I am scared. Sheila! Marty practically shouted. I'm proud of you. You are? Yes. Do you realize this is the first time you've ever been honest with me? Marty asked. It is? Yes, it is. You finally admitted it. You're scared. That's the first step in the right direction. From now on, everything will be a snap. Marty jumped into the pool. Come on, Sheila, I want to show you something. I walked down the steps and stood next to him. Watch this, Marty said, putting his face in the water. Big bubbles came to the surface. He turned his head to the side and took a breath. Then he stuck it back in and blew some more bubbles. He did that 10 times. He made it look easy. When he was done, I clapped my hands. That was very good, Marty, I said. Okay, wise guy. Now let's see you do it. I can't, I said. I'm too scared. I'll hold your hand. I looked at Marty and thought about what my mother told me, that if I can't swim with my face in the water by the end of summer, Marty will give back all the money for my swimming lessons. I hate to think of Marty having a hard time because of me, but he never should have made such a silly deal with my mother. Please, Sheila, Marty said, give it a try. Oh, all right, I said, grabbing Marty's hand. I put my face down in the water. I nearly choked to death. Marty had to whack me on the back until I stopped coughing. What were you supposed to do, Sheila? He asked. I was supposed to blow bubbles, I answered. And did you? No, I breathed regular. And what did you find out? That I can't breathe regular in the water. That's right, Marty said. So let's try it again, and this time take a breath first and then blow out. Okay, so I took a breath, but I started to laugh. Sometimes I do that when I'm really scared. And nothing stops me from laughing. Nothing. I laugh until my side feels like it's going to split open. Usually I end up with bad hiccups. Sheila, Sheila, Marty said. What am I going to do with you? You're impossible. I told you I was. Didn't I? I giggled. I should have believed you, Marty said. Calm down now. Let's get to work. I'm calm, I told him. I took a big breath and put my face into the water. I think Marty was yelling something at me, but I don't know what. When I was ready to explode, I lifted my face and said, Well, how was that? You forgot to let it out, Sheila. Let what out? The air. You took a deep breath, but then you didn't let it out. Oh. I knew something was wrong. I took a bigger breath, put my face in the water, and blew out. I made bubbles, just like Marty. I lifted my head and smiled. That's it, Marty shouted. You did it. You really did it. I did, didn't I? I could hardly believe it myself. I really did do it. Yes. And now I want you to try it 10 times in a row. Oh, Marty, do I have to? Isn't just once enough? Marty shook his head. I took a deep breath and did what he told me to. I blew very nice bubbles. Then I turned my head to the side, took another breath, and put my face back into the water. I did this 4 times before I forgot to blow the air out. That time I think I breathed in when my face was under the water. I wound up with a mouthful. When I stopped coughing, I gasped. No more. Please, no more. Don't make me do it again. I climbed out of the pool and ran for a towel. The chlorine really stings my eyes. Marty followed me. Okay, Sheila, that's it for today. But I want you to practice swimming with your face in the water. I'm going to give you the beginner swimming test before the end of the summer. I think you'll be able to pass it. Me? Me pass a swimming test? I asked. Yes, you. I always knew Marty was sick. And that's the end of chapter 12. So the next video, when it's posted, will be the last 3 chapters of the book. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.